Hello and welcome. Get comfortable, grab your snacks, your dinner, your dessert, your beverages, anything you need, and our program will start at 7 p.m. See you then. Welcome to the Washington Green School's Better Together fundraiser. I'm your host for the evening, Lauren Dupree. We know there are many other things you could be doing tonight and other programs you could be watching. So on behalf of Washington Green Schools, we are so glad you have chosen to be here with us. We want to acknowledge that we gather on the traditional land of Native peoples past and present and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. This calls us to commit to continuing to learn how to be better stewards of the land we inhabit. Tonight, we are live streaming from Federal Way, Washington, which is on the traditional land of the Coast Salish peoples and the Puyallup and Duwamish tribes. We encourage you to look up whose tribal lands you occupy. Check out the helpful link we are dropping in the chat, native-land.ca. One way we can come together to take care of the environment for now and future generations is by supporting Washington Green Schools. As many of you know, our mission is to equip young people to become environmental change makers in their communities. Tonight, we are here to raise funds to ensure that this important work can continue even while school is happening from home. Throughout the evening, we'll celebrate our Green Medalist awardees and hear from environmental change makers from communities across Washington. We hope you'll find inspiration in their stories and feel the power of our Washington Green Schools community. We promise you a night of joy and inspiration, a little bit of trivia, and the chance to make a difference. It will be very easy for you to donate at any time during tonight's event. Just click on the link we are providing in the chat. You may be wondering, how can I communicate with the other people at this party right now? Easy. You can join us in the chat. If you have never chatted on YouTube before, don't worry, it's easy to start. You may need to make a YouTube account, which is called a channel, so go ahead and do that. It's quick and free and easy, and you can do it right now. When you want to have even more fun, add some emojis. The emojis are available right below the line where you type your chat. Now, let's turn this party up. Right now, I'd like all of us to show some love to our students and teachers who are joining us from across the state. Students and educators, show up in the chat if you are here. Let us know where you are joining us from. If you know which native land you occupy, put that in too. Please share hearts and stars and any other fun emojis and kind words. Let's all welcome each other to this celebration. I would also like to recognize our elected officials. Thank you so much for your public service and for joining us tonight. If you are an elected official, please say hello in the chat. So I see you guys shouting each other out in the chat. Someone's here from Coast Salish. Hello from Walook, home of the Wanapum people. I hope I pronounced that right. We're showing love for our teachers. It's great. Keep it going. Keep the chat going. Now, it seems like you all have a handle on the chat business. So let's have some fun and play some trivia, just for the joy of learning about our wonderful state. You're going to answer in the chat via multiple choice. Ready? Washington has several deep lakes that formed during the last glaciation. The deepest lake is A, Lake Washington, B, Lake Quinault, C, Lake Chelan. All right, now while I'm waiting for your answers in the chat, I'm gonna give you a little hint. At the far end of this lake, there is a remote little town which can only be reached by ferry or by hiking trail or horseback, the town of Stehekin. Let's see. All right, don't forget to put your answers in the chat. So what do you guys think? I wanna know what okay, I'm getting A, C, Chelan, C, and A with a question mark. A, C, okay, there's a B in there. All right, well, the correct answer is C, Lake Chelan. That's right. Lake Chelan is the deepest lake in the state. It's almost 1,500 feet deep and just over 50 miles long, and it's a great place to visit in the summer. We even have active Washington Green Schools there. Shout out to Lake Chelan Middle and High School. Everyone who got it right, congratulations, gold star for you. Our chat team is going to give you gold stars in the chat. Now we'll play some more trivia later, so don't go anywhere. Now it's time to thank a very generous group of people and companies, our event sponsors. Many of our sponsors are joining us tonight. Please say hello in the chat. Let's give a special shout out to our gold level sponsors, Boeing, Malum, Northbound, PCC Community Markets, and Pacific Market International. Thank you to everyone who supported this event and helped make it possible. At this moment, we want to shine the spotlight on a very special partner, Shyla Miller from Boeing, who is retiring this week after many years of service. Shyla is Boeing's community investor for the environment, and she has been a dedicated partner and supporter of Washington Green Schools for many years. If any of you have been to a Washington Green Schools Day of Service, you've probably seen Shyla digging in the dirt, always with a smile on her face. We are so grateful for Shyla's visionary perspective, sage advice, and great sense of humor. We wish her all the best in her retirement. Shyla, you will be missed. We also want to recognize a very special sponsor tonight, PCC. Tonight, PCC is receiving a Washington Green Schools Green Medalist Award. Green medals recognize individuals, school communities, or community partners who show exceptional dedication to advancing environmental sustainability and action in schools. We want to honor PCC for their leadership and commitment to growing children's access to fresh, healthy food. PCC sponsors Washington Green Schools' School Gardens program, which has supported the cultivation of food gardens in schools across the Seattle area. Thanks, PCC, for expanding access to outdoor learning and stewardship in fresh and healthy produce for kids. PCC sent us a video. Let's all watch it now.
Hi, Washington Green Schools. Thank you for honoring PCC with this important award. We're so glad to be partnering with Washington Green Schools. I'm Brenna Davis. I'm the VP of Social and Environmental Responsibility, and I'm here live in my garden with my chicken Coco. We're so pleased to have this award. It's important that kids know where their food comes from, and thank you, Washington Green Schools, for making that possible.
Thanks again, PCC. Later in the program, we'll meet two more of our 2020 Green Medalists. In a moment, we'll hear from our Executive Director, Meredith Lore. But before we bring Meredith on screen, please join me in welcoming Maya Mata. Maya attended Sylvester Middle School, another Green Medalist awardee. You'll learn more about Sylvester Middle School later in our program tonight. Maya is now a high school senior, and the lessons Maya learned from her time at Sylvester continue to guide her commitment to being a leader for the environment today. She's joining us tonight from her home in Burien. Please welcome Maya Mata.
Hello everyone, my name is Maya Mata. I'm a senior at Raisbeck Aviation High School and an alumni of Sylvester Middle School in Burien. It's been nearly 7 months since I've been to school or interacted normally with family and friends, and I know it's the same for all of you. I really wish we could have been in person today, honoring and learning from all the people making strides to better our environment and world. But I think it serves as a powerful symbol that we're all here gathered virtually. The environmental challenges we're facing today are rooted in a long history of not properly taking care of our planet. We see this through COVID, wildfires, the water crisis around the country. Now more than ever, we see the impacts of climate change in our communities, and especially the most vulnerable within our communities. We are beyond having debates. It's not a matter whether you believe in the science or not. It's a matter of what you are going to do about it. And if I can highlight one thing, it's that if we want to redress this and find solutions to the challenges we're facing today, we need to look to our younger generations. My generation will one day lead this country and this world, and we have the chance to make a powerful impact today. The world is often overcrowded by adult voices. Our society overlooks the student voice when discussing challenges that face our communities. It's my generation who is hit the hardest by the actions or inactions of others. But it is also my generation that can bring the most creative solutions, the most needed solutions. Environmental education in the classroom is not only valuable, but necessary to redress the climate crisis that we are living through. When environmental education is a fundamental part of student learning, young people take notice of the issues surrounding them and are then prepared to act for change. Why wouldn't we teach students to take care of the planet just like we teach them math? Our students need to understand the environmental issues and why they occur in order to stand up and fight for better. My 8th grade science teacher, Miss Phelan, challenged me to think about how I interact with our environment, both positively and negatively. My classmates and I may have not been fully engaged throughout all our science lessons, but for most kids in the class, this was their first awakening to climate change, just like it was mine. And looking back, this class had a significant impact on how I interact with our environment today. When we focus on making the environment a priority in educational spaces, it translates into action. The future of how my fellow classmates and I will shape environmental policies, educational curriculum, and business operations depends on it. We must take this stride because without collective fortitude, history is bound to repeat itself, and we cannot afford to repeat this part of history. Thank you all for your time tonight, and I hope that if you take one thing away, it's that you invest into our young generations and equip them to remedy the challenges we're facing, because they will surprise you. I'm confident to say they will be the answer we are all desperately looking for. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Meredith Lore, and I'm the Executive Director of Washington Green Schools. We started this organization 10 years ago to engage young people as leaders for a healthy environment. Although we've grown a lot since then, our purpose and values have remained steady. We believe that every person deserves clean air and water, healthy food, and access to nature, regardless of their income, neighborhood, or color of their skin. We know that in order to have thriving communities, we need to protect the environment. And we recognize that human-caused climate change is the biggest crisis we will face. While these challenges are enormous, we also believe that we can create a sustainable and just world by working together. Our mission is to grow the power of young people to be the change makers we need for a healthy planet. Each year, we partner with hundreds of public schools and organizations to bring environmental education and action into urban, rural, and suburban communities. Like Maya, we believe that environmental education needs to be a fundamental part of every young person's schooling. Our educational system has the opportunity and the responsibility to prepare young people for the challenges they will face. Washington Green Schools engages students in hands-on, science-based programs that sharpen skills they need for success in life. Tonight, you'll listen to stories of how teachers are using our training and resources to educate their students about climate change. You'll learn how young people are working together to implement science-based solutions to environmental issues in their schools and neighborhoods. And you'll hear examples of how we work with our partners from across the state to ensure that all students have access to high-quality environmental education. We approach our work with the intention to be an anti-racist organization and with a commitment to equity and justice. This has been a difficult year. During the pandemic, teachers, students, and families have been struggling, and they've turned to us for guidance and support. Beginning in the spring, our program team quickly adapted to create and share resources for distance learning. I'm inspired by the hundreds of teachers across the state who've stayed engaged in climate science education. And every day, I'm encouraged by the people in our Washington Green Schools family. People like you who believe in science and are working for justice and know that we don't have time to waste. Our team has been putting in long hours on Zoom this fall, partnering with schools and districts from Tacoma to Spokane. Teachers are turning to us for professional development, lesson plans, tools, and advice to help them teach remotely. They want to keep their students engaged in meaningful learning this year, and so do we. Tonight, your support will ensure that thousands of young people across Washington can keep learning environmental science and tackling climate change, even while school is at home. Thank you so much for your support. And now I'll hand it back to you, Lauren.
Giving us some context for the importance of the work of Washington Green Schools, and especially now. Supporting this work is why we are here tonight. Now, remember I mentioned fundraising earlier, and I see many people have been donating already. Let's get a bit more serious and kick this fundraising up a notch. I'd like everyone to click the donation link that was just shared in the chat. Now, I'm gonna click on it now too. And look, it comes right up. Yes, looks like the donation site is working, so don't be shy, everyone. You can jump right in and help us work towards our goal. It's just that easy. Also, I have really good news. We have a generous donor who wants to match every gift from a teacher. Teachers, let us know who you are when you donate, and your gift will be doubled. So be generous. All right, friends, let's take a look at our thermometer. Our fundraising goal is $75,000. As you can see from the thermometer, we have already raised $20,436 through our campaign that's been going on for the last several days. Amazing. So thank you to everyone who has already made a donation to our campaign. And a big thank you to our fundraising captains for going the extra mile to make sure the work of Washington Green Schools grows stronger than ever. Let's show some love for our fundraising captains in the chat. Now, I have two more pieces of good news. Our first piece of good news is the $450 donation level. This level is a celebration of the fact that Washington Green Schools will be active in 450 schools across the state this year. And we have a wonderful donor who will match the donations at the $450 level. That's good news, right? I also want to mention our $150 donation level. At $150, we are celebrating Washington Green Schools' plan to partner with 150 school districts statewide this year. We have a special pool of money provided by our board of directors to match at the $150 level. So again, if you can find a way to donate at either the $450 or the $150 level, these levels will be matched. Or you can live large and give at both levels. Just roll it up into one donation of $600. We'll be happy to match that too. Now, let's play another round of trivia. Remember to drop your answers in the chat. The mascot of Washington's new professional ice hockey team is a reptile, B, cephalopod, C, gastropod. Now, while I'm waiting for your answers in the chat, I'm going to give you another hint. Our new NHL mascot is a legendary deep sea squid. So if you know what type of animal a squid is, you'll get this one right. So let's see. Still waiting to see those answers pop up. What do you guys think? I want to know what you're okay, we've got B. What else are you guys thinking? Okay, a lot of people, oh, you guys seem pretty sure. Everyone is saying B. All right, well, the answer is B, the kraken. It's a cephalopod. Luckily, this giant squid is the stuff of legends, though sailors in Scandinavia weren't always so sure. Now I need to tell you about another one of our Green Medalist awardees. In the fall of 2019, Washington Green Schools partnered with educators from Southwest Washington to host a course for teachers called the Climate Justice League. These teachers came from diverse schools all over the region, from the city of Vancouver to rural towns, to bring issues of equity and justice into their science classrooms. They learned together and supported each other to transform their students' learning experience. The Climate Justice League received Washington Green Schools' 2020 Green Medalist Award for this pioneering work of teaching climate science through an equity and social justice lens. Now we'll hear from a wonderful person who is a Climate Justice League member and middle school teacher. She is joining us from Southwest Washington to tell us more about the impact Washington Green Schools and the Climate Justice League has had on her teaching. Please welcome Molly Ann Callan.
Hello, Washington Green School supporters. My name is Molly Ann Callan, and I am a science teacher in Southwest Washington. I teach middle school science in a conservative rural community where climate change denial is common. One of the greatest challenges that I face is making sure that every lesson I design, every set of data I present, and every resource that I use regarding climate science has been vetted by experts and can stand up to scrutiny. Every time I mention climate change in the classroom, I know that I'm inviting public criticism from the parents and the community. However, I think it's critical for science teachers to connect the experiences inside of our classrooms to the ones that students are facing outside of the classroom. You might have guessed, based on my backdrop, that I am teaching from home via Zoom right now. And actually, several weeks ago, I stood in this very spot and tried to calm and comfort my students through Zoom as the sky turned gray and ash rained down on our homes, and many of my students and their families prepared for evacuation as wildfires threatened our community. While wildfires are complex, we know that climate change is undoubtedly exacerbating our increasingly extreme wildfire season here in the Pacific Northwest. It's so important for young people to be equipped with information that's going to help them survive and hopefully thrive in this changing world. Unless we combat the causes of climate change, the current generation, along with future generations, will continue to be impacted by climate-related events in an exponential way. Being part of the Climate Justice League changed the way I approach these difficult conversations in my classroom. I've always felt passionately about social justice, the environment, and climate change, but I feared backlash from teaching those things in the classroom. I often lowered my voice and glossed over issues that might elicit angry parent emails or disgruntled letters to the school board. After being part of the Climate Justice League, I no longer fear what might happen if I teach climate science in the classroom. Because being a part of the league has made me more afraid of a world where we don't teach young people the truth about our changing climate, how it affects us all, and how it disproportionately affects people in marginalized communities across the globe. My voice during difficult conversations in the classroom has grown increasingly stronger and more confident because of the work I did with the Climate Justice League. Washington Green Schools has helped me thrive as a science educator. Their ongoing professional development has given me resources and ideas to address climate change head-on in the classroom. The connections I've made with other educators at the Washington Green Schools events and the connections I've made with scientists leading those trainings have given me a whole community to lean on. I just can't say enough about how Washington Green Schools has supported me as an educator. My hope for my students is that they are going to graduate high school with a well-rounded understanding of basic science, climate change, and how the effects of climate change disproportionately affect people in marginalized communities. Most importantly, I hope that my students will grow up and take action to combat both the root causes of climate change and to mitigate the effects it has on the most vulnerable in our population. I hope that when my students come of age, they'll cast informed votes in local, state, and national elections with the environment in mind. Maybe some of them will even pursue careers in environmental engineering, public policy, or renewable energy. Most of all, though, I just want my students to become adults who are empowered by facts and feel like they have control over their future. I want to give a huge shout out to Washington Green Schools. All my thanks to them for helping me try to achieve these goals. Thank you.
Thank you for telling your story, Molly Ann. We're sorry to hear about the pushback you received from some parents in your community, but it is so important to be reminded of some of the challenges our teachers face. You all are the true hometown heroes. Now to share another story of how Washington Green Schools changes lives, we want to bring another wonderful partner, Clint Weckerly, to the stage. Clint is the Migrant Academic Coordinator for Education Service District 189 in Northwest Washington. Let's hear from Clint now.
Hey, howdy, y'all. My name is Clint Weckerly, and I work as the Migrant Academic Coordinator at Northwest Educational Service District 189 in Anacortes. So what that whole long job title means is that my role is purposed to support migrant inclusive instruction anywhere our migrant students are being served in Western Washington. My team has partnerships with over 30 public school districts in Western Washington, and overall, we're supporting their service to over 6,100 migrant students. Now, what we know about our migrant students is one, they are amazingly resilient. And they are also among the most marginalized of our student groups. And when we're talking about science education in particular, they demonstrate some of the largest learning disparities of any. To answer that call is Washington Green Schools. This year, I had the distinct privilege of getting to work alongside them and a handful of my region's district partners in the development and implementation of a tailored and customized migrant inclusive summer school curriculum. I think that this curriculum really exemplifies so much of the mission of Washington Green School's work and also its heartbeat. This curriculum sought to not only be culturally responsive, but beautifully human in how it was student-centered. This wasn't just dry textbook science learning. This was something that kids got to interact with. These were kits and physical materials paired with synchronous and asynchronous COVID responsive instructional times. This was a curriculum that offered opportunities for students to connect not only with other students and their teacher, but with their siblings and family members, and to look at the scientific marvels that immediately surround them in their household, in their neighborhood, in their community. What I think this does is it gives this message of science happens everywhere. It can happen at any time, and anyone can be a scientist. Two, when we're talking about climate science in particular, what it is doing is it is helping some of the students who are maybe closest to the land to prepare themselves and get ready to save this planet on their own behalf as well as ours. And I just, I continue to be marveled and to clutch my heart over what a beautiful and amazing opportunity it was to work with Washington Green Schools on this project. Two, their work, their resources are available at no cost for districts, which I know doesn't actually come for free. So to this group, I need to stress the importance of this work. It is crucial, lives depend on it, and two, Washington Green Schools is leading the way. So y'all, it's been a pleasure to share this space with you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, Clint. As Clint mentioned, Washington Green Schools partners with schools and districts to engage students who need their help, and this work just cannot happen without financial support. So let's take a look at our progress on the thermometer and see if we can bring it up. All right, looks like we are $24,811 towards our $75,000 goal. Now you can donate now, and please remember that your gift at the $450 or the $150 level will be matched. Also, your gift in any amount will be matched if you are a teacher. And don't worry, you are welcome to give again if you already made a gift. And you can send our donation page link to anyone, anywhere, and they can jump in and join the fund. Together, we can create opportunities for kids across the state. It has been wonderful to watch the donations roll in day after day. And when you check that Give Butter page, you'll notice many members of our community have joined us with lovely gifts of $50, $25, $100, even $10 or $20. It means so much. Together, we are building a movement of change makers. Your donation in any amount is meaningful. And while you all work on pushing that thermometer up a bit more, let's play another round of trivia. Clint just mentioned how many of our students in Washington schools have family members in the agriculture industry. Let's test our knowledge of Washington agriculture. Are you ready? Now, compared to any other state, Washington state farms grow more of which crop? A, raspberries, B, carrots, C, hops, or D, all of the above. All right, so I'm waiting for your answers to come in. But in the meantime, doesn't that just make you hungry? Raspberries sound really good right now. You can also put in the chat what you got to get ready for this event. If you got a plate of food, a drink, share what you're eating so we all know, and it's probably just gonna make me hungry. So if you want, just drive over here and bring me a snack. Oh, all right, here's some answers. We got C, S. Try again. Hops, D, lots of Ds. All right, well, I know the answer is D, all of the above. So, as I said, I'm hungry, so let's think of a way that we could celebrate all these delicious local ingredients together. Maybe a carrot cake with raspberry filling, and pair a slice of that cake with a nice IPA. I don't know. If you have any better recipes or combo ideas, please drop them in the chat. All right, heads up everybody. Our next video was recorded in early 2020, so don't be alarmed when you see students and teachers gathering together in classrooms indoors. Sylvester Middle School, like so many other school communities across our state, is teaching remotely this fall. This story begins 4 years ago when science teacher Caitlin Phelan reached out to Washington Green Schools to help connect her 8th grade science class with opportunities for environmental learning and action. As you'll see from the video, it started with one teacher and has grown to become part of the culture of this Burien Middle School. Let's watch together and learn more.
It's important to protect the earth because it's our home.
We've got like one option, which is Earth, and Plan B is kind of non-existent.
It is important to protect our Earth because there are like living species other than us that need help.
I just love the earth because it's my home. To not have a home in a few years is concerning.
Sylvester is made up of approximately 690 students. We have economic diversity, we have cultural diversity, and ethnic diversity.
At Sylvester, we've really taken off on some of our programs around sustainability. We've had different teachers involved with different projects on campus and teaching lessons in classrooms that connect students to ideas of sustainability and climate change.
I was really excited to know that they were doing this work, and it started with just one teacher.
The reason I originally connected with Washington Green Schools was in planning a problem-based learning unit. So the problem students were addressing was the problem of stormwater polluting local waterways. And then they had to research possible solutions to the problem based on what students provided. Washington Green Schools put together this beautiful rain garden, and they were able to, as students, help with that. It gave them meaning for their learning. It gave them pride in what they were doing. That sort of connection with the earth was something new and an interesting side of students that I wasn't able to see in the classroom.
When I first got here, the rain garden back there was just a little dry patch. And over time, it became a place where students naturally gathered.
So what happens is with our school, it comes from the roof and it goes down the pipe to the water barrel. And then it slowly goes into our rain garden and gets filtered down into the soil. And then any extras will go actually into a crate going down into the storm drain and eventually into the Puget Sound.
I think a lot of teenagers don't really think that this is like a big part in life, and I feel like most of us need to like act up and do what others aren't willing to do.
Caitlin, Joanna, and I participated in a training with Washington Green Schools. It really kind of helped us narrow down the target areas that we wanted to tackle. I think it's important for teachers to attend trainings and workshops like the ones provided by Washington Green Schools because it really helps us learn how to empower students so that they can address 21st century issues to problems that they're seeing in their everyday lives.
I was doing these green projects as one teacher in a school. And since then, they've continued to ask, hey, how can we support you not only in your school grounds and gardens, but all these other areas? As new teachers have come to the school with a passion and interest for the environment and sustainability, they're meeting with those teachers as well.
Working with Washington Green Schools really helped narrow down where we could all support one another. It's really been them willing to help us out with anything that we've needed.
Washington Green Schools is inspirational. When I look at the work that our teachers are doing with our students, and I see the products of that work, it would not have happened without that inspiration. They have seeded a lot of what has happened here at Sylvester Middle School.
I would recommend other schools get involved with Washington Green Schools and its programs because it's going to be meaningful for their students and impactful in their communities.
Wow, it's amazing to see kids and teachers together in school. I love seeing how much they appreciate Washington Green Schools too. We had a chance to catch up with these teachers again just last week to hear how they are and remind them about their award.
Thank you, Washington Green Schools, for all your support over the years, all the hope that you've been giving both myself and the students at Sylvester and their community, that they can make the world a better place.
In that video, you could see and feel the passion that they've got.
I'm very hopeful that even though we're having these challenging times of trying to teach them through this learning, that they're still wanting to engage and still wanting to make an impact in their own homes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvester Middle School, and congratulations on your award. These teachers are working so hard to support kids these days, and Washington Green Schools is working alongside them in schools across the state to ensure that environmental learning and action won't stop, even while school is at home. Now, don't forget, when you give tonight, you support Washington Green Schools partnering with teachers, schools, and districts across the state to give remote learning opportunities to students. This fall, we're working with districts like Kent, Tacoma, Highline, and Wahluke, and training hundreds of teachers from all across the state to engage their students remotely. When you give to Washington Green Schools tonight, you are ensuring that students can have meaningful science learning opportunities connected to real issues like climate change, even while school is happening at home. When you give tonight, you are investing in the next generation of change makers for a healthy environment. Our kids and school communities appreciate your support. Let's get our thermometer out and take one last look at our fundraising. How are we doing? First, we need to say thank you to some wonderful people who brought us a special gift for tonight's celebration. Our board members are coming in with one of our matches. Let's say thanks to our amazing board members. Are you here with us now? Board members, please shout out in the chat and we will say hi to you. Our board members provided that match we talked about earlier for the gifts at $150. We had another very generous donor who wanted to match every gift given by a teacher. We have already had 11 teachers donate. And we had another very generous donor who provided the match for gifts at $450. We have added all these donations into our total as well. Looks like we are at $48,011 towards our goal of $75,000. And in fact, 88 of our donors are brand new donors from Washington Green Schools. We will keep this campaign open through the weekend. With your help, we'll reach our goal. We are growing this movement, so please spread the word. Now, before we say goodnight, let's play our final round of trivia. In this Washington State School District, more than 120 languages are spoken, and it's the 5th most diverse school district in the U.S. A, Tacoma, B, Federal Way, or C, Spokane. And I will give you one hint. If you were listening closely at the beginning of the program, you will remember that I am standing in this school district right now. So let's look in the chat and see who remembers. So far, none of you, but that could just be the delay. So I'm going to wait a little bit and see when these answers come in. All right? One person for B. Someone for V. Let's try again. I think maybe you were trying to hit a different button. We've got a few. Okay, a lot of people are voting for B. One person voted for Tacoma. All right. Well, the answer is B, Federal Way. Well, as I said, we are broadcasting from a studio in Federal Way right now. We love our South King County school districts. Next, it's almost time to say goodnight, but before we go, I want to thank each of you for joining us and thank you for being a part of the Washington Green Schools family. We would love you to stay involved, and here are a few things you can do. 1, share one of the stories you heard tonight with a friend and ask a friend to join you and donate. Our campaign will stay open through the weekend. You can share about this event on social media, so be sure to look in the chat to see our handles. This event can be viewed starting tomorrow on our YouTube page, so share this with a friend if they missed out on the live event today. 2, ask a young person about their connection to the environment. What are they hoping for in the future? And last, 3, take action at home. For instance, don't forget to compost, and please vote. On behalf of everyone at Washington Green Schools, thank you so much and good night.
you.